What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's dive into today's topic, which is the Wild Season Permit. Now, here's the thing. When this first came out almost a year ago at this point, so shout out to the team for getting this out. It's been a year and it's completely revolutionized the game in terms of like eliminating, like being the final nail in the coffin for bot farms. But having said that, when it first came out, 2000 DEC seemed relatively simple and straightforward. It made a lot of sense, right? 2000 DEC at PEG is roughly $2 per season. 2 seasons per month is $4 a month times 12 months is like $48 a year, right? Just under $50 US per year to play forever, earn forever, right? In the game with whatever cards that you have. Not unreasonable. I know some people are upset about it because it's like, well, I bought the cards already. I should be able to play with them. And here's the thing. You can play challenges. You can play, training. You can play tournaments. You can do all other things, including even modern format. If you have modern eligible cards, you can do all of that without having to pay the Wild Season Permit or the pass, right? You can still participate with your cards. You just can't play in the ranked game, but that's besides the point. I don't want to get too far into that. So, $50 a year, think of it like a subscription fee, right? You're paying $50 a year so that you can earn from this pot forever, right? And that was the idea, is that, well, we don't want people leeching off the system. And again, it's not bots. It's about any account that could just come in and leech off the system forever in perpetuity after buying, maybe one set of cards or even just a couple of cards here and there. So here's the thing. 2000 DEC makes sense. I like it. It's cool. And logically, I was following it because I was like, okay, well, if people aren't making 2000 DEC and they're kind of paying in, but they're just enjoying the game, well, then it's just like a subscription fee, right? You pay the amount, $50 per year, we'll call it, and you can earn more cards, right? These reward cards help you to earn more. They help you level up. They help you to play more. And just, it's like a diverse element of the game that just people are in it for the pure entertainment. And that's cool. That's actually exactly what you want, right? Somebody who's willing to pay that if they're willing to. Because ultimately, that would burn SPS, right, indirectly as we burn more DEC, and then everything's gravy from there. Now, if somebody's making 2000 DEC or they're making more than 2000 DEC worth, and again, this is paid out in SPS, so keep in mind whatever the conversion ratio is, right, because both SPS and DEC move and are volatile, even though DEC has kind of a soft peg. That makes the relationship very dynamic. So it's just like, well, if SPS goes up, then all of a sudden, things get really cheap, right? The wild permit gets really cheap. And if SPS goes down, well, then it's not so much. Or if DEC goes down so much, then, vice versa. But my whole point with this was, okay, cool. I can 2000 DEC for life. That makes sense. But then we started getting a lot of conversations, and I'm going to give a shout out to Royal Eagle here because he's been really pushing this, although we have not defined it yet. So not that I'm challenging Royal Eagle, but anybody who's thinking through this, obviously Royal Eagle's on the team. My thought is okay, well, if the narrative now, sorry, let me get back to what Royal Eagle was saying, of if SPS starts to climb really high, then we might have to make the Wild Pass dynamic, right? We might have to increase the price of the Wild Season Permit. And it's like, okay, I mean, I get it. I understand, but that just feels weird in many ways because I get it from the sense of okay, if it rises above a certain threshold where bot farms can come back online, and even if they're making the minimum amount, it allows them to make just slightly more than 2000 DECs worth every season. And so they pay the fee and then they dump the difference, right? And that, that keeps the SPS price down in a sense. But at the same time, we're also burning a ton of DEC, which should be burning a lot of SPS. And so I was like, well, we don't really need to worry about that, right? Because that will slowly increase the price of SPS over time, no matter what, right? Sure, they could be dumping SPS on there, but if they're going to come back next season and then burn another 2000 DEC, that DEC's got to come from somewhere, right? And that DEC is most likely going to be minted from burned SPS. And guess what? Every time we burn SPS, that SPS is gone forever. So they're going to have to find more SPS to burn, right? So my whole thought was okay, you leave it at 2000 DEC and that's fine. Well, if you're going to make it dynamic and increase the price over time, that just feels strange to me. And now all of a sudden I'm thinking in my head, if you're going to make it dynamic and the reward token is an SPS, why not just pay it in SPS? And why not just have that SPS automatically be burned? And here I'm going to give a shout out to Keegs, who's the one who inspired me to create this video. We were going back and forth a little bit in my Discord about like just having, well, he was saying, you know, having the wild pass automatically burn SPS for it. And I was like, okay, well, there's a couple different directions you could go with this. And keep in mind, like, you know, these thoughts are raw, so I haven't like thought through all the implications. There's probably some, you feel free to poke holes in it and make it better. Hopefully make it better, right? Don't just poke holes. Or you can let me know if my logic is completely flawed, although I don't think it is. It's like if you're trying to make the wild pass dynamic, then it really just comes down to why not make it paid in SPS? So the simple way to do it, right? Let's say we value SPS at 1 penny right now. So you know, it's a little bit lower than that. But if you value it at 1 penny, and the cost is roughly $2, then that means 200 SPS. So that is the cost of playing in wild format, right? It's 200 SPS per season. It automatically gets burned, and you will know if you are profitable if you can earn more than 200 SPS per season. No more weird conversions from SPS to DEC. No more worries about like burning SPS for DEC and what's the value of both, right? It's just like, hey, the cost to play is 100 SPS. And it burns that SPS automatically. We don't even mess with the flywheel, right? Like this is like the flywheel on steroids, because now we're not even worrying about like a DEC overhang. This is just simply we burn the SPS, right? Just goes into the fire, and that's it. That's the end of it. And then you get more SPS, and you know, accounts will be able to min max however they want. I like, again, it may not be perfect, but I'm just saying, if you're going to have a dynamic with the price of SPS, why don't you just price it in SPS? Because I don't know what this looks like, where it's just like, okay, so you're saying it's cool to have it at 2,000 DEC when SPS is at a penny. Again, obviously the scale, this is not going to be to scale, but it's like, well, if SPS hits 10 cents, are you going to increase it tenfold, right? Like all of a sudden, are we going to be paying 20,000 DEC when SPS hits 10 cents, 20,000 DEC per season? And again, I'm not, this was not thought through, you know, these are more just like early conversations. So I'm not trying to, you know, throw Roy Legal under the bus. Roy Legal, love you, man. It's just more so I'm trying to figure out what the best way forward is, because if you're going to make it dynamic, then having this weird conversion back and forth is going to confuse not just new players, but like old players like myself, right? Veteran players like myself who've been around the ecosystem for several years now. And so I'm just thinking of ways that we can like mitigate this and not have it be such a big deal. Now, is pricing it at 100 or 200 SPS, whatever it is, the right move? No, I'm not saying that is the right move right now. All I'm saying is that if you're going to make the wild pass dynamic, then just price it in the token that's being paid out, so people will be able to know that's what it is. And they'll have to pay that price, right? They'll have to pay that price in the future to participate and hopefully earn more. And again, it also completely sidesteps the whole flywheel thing, which is good because it's, like I said, flywheel on steroids. We don't even bother with the DEC overhang. So, you know, and this just kind of gets back at my whole, you know, this shouldn't be more than, like, we should really just have one token for this game. And awesome, it would be awesome if this game was able to run on Bitcoin somehow. But obviously that's not the case, right? So it would just be cool if we just had SPS. Now, I understand the team's logic for wanting a, you know, kind of like product-backed stablecoin, which they've termed it in the past, where people can come in and just pay like DEC, and then sometimes stuff is at a discount, right? But in the same way, it's just like, you can have both. Right, we can have a complex system that has both SPS and DEC. We've seen it before, where you were buying, you know, packs, Chaos Legion packs for DEC and Rift Watcher packs for SPS, and people figured it out. Right, people figured it out. Wild format is for older players, and so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to just charge SPS for that and just completely burn that SPS and have it be this massive, massive SPS sink per season, so that you don't have to worry about, okay, at what min-max level are the bot farms going to come back in, right? It's just like, nah, if you're an account that can earn more than 200 SPS, or you don't mind just playing and participating, you know, and paying whatever the cost is, then like, cool, good for you. Also, and I will say this, it's not even necessarily broken, right? I'm making this argument that if you're going to have a dynamic pricing system, price it in the reward token, SPS. But also, I think if you just leave it at 2,000 DEC, yes, will there be a situation where you could get massive amounts of accounts, automated accounts, back online that start playing en masse when SPS starts, you know, to fly, because they only need to pay 2,000 DEC? Yes, that could happen. But that could also be a massive boom to the game economy. That could burn a hell of a lot of DEC, a lot of SPS. It could use up a lot of cards. And while I know people are fundamentally and principally against bots, and I'm not saying that you're wrong or right for being pro bot or anti bot, I'm just saying that like I don't think that, like, I think that's a viable option too, right? If we just leave it at 2000 DEC, let SPS float up to 3, 4, 5, 10 cents, whatever it's going to go to, right? And then have more accounts come online and burn more DEC every season, which ultimately burns more SPS. And there's only ever going to be 3 billion SPS, of which we've burned, we're closing in on 10% of the supply burn now. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on this. Shout out to Keegs for pushing me to make the video on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Very curious to hear how people are thinking through this. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.